We'd say this is what like watching paint dry, but it's not even that interesting to me. All right, come on. Yeah? Are you going to entertain people? Are you more entertaining than my lack of Photoshop right now? We'll watch the beginning screens for Photoshop loading up. How's that? You like that? Come here. Come here, Cassie. Honestly, I started, my parents were both artists. Cassie. Sorry. I started out, my parents are both not digital artists, both painters, and my parents, actually they both did photography, and they both drew. My dad worked for paper. My mom writes and illustrates children's books. So I sort of didn't understand the whole thing about, it takes a long time to get good at something. Is this up enough that I can, yeah, let's open that now. So I would draw things, I'd take it to my mom, and she'd be very encouraging, and I would be like, don't patronize me, this is horrible. But she, so I actually pursued performing arts. When I was in high school, I went to a performing arts high school. Well, I went to an arts high school. They also had drawing and other things. And I studied dance and drama. And I really loved it. That was my goal. But then when I got closer to leaving high school and going to college, I'm like, do I really want to be another, kid trying to make it on Broadway? Singing was not my strong point, and if you're a dancer and an actor, singing sort of has to be part of that, or you're not really very useful to most people. But I decided that I really liked television and video, and I thought, oh, that's a really great thing. I want to pursue that. And I got a degree in video production and audio script writing because I have a passion for radio drama, which was cultivated by my parents very young. And I met my wonderful husband at Ithaca in my very first broad prod class, which is broadcast production. And he was more there for radio, and I was more there for video. But, I pushed him into radio drama, and he pushed me into more straight up audio. So I DJ'd, and he and I wrote and produced a 6-part radio drama for our senior class production for our final senior project. And then we tried to get a degree, tried to make a career in that, and you just can't. I also tried to find work as in television, and I had a hard time. So during that time, my dad taught me Photoshop, it was Quark, Photoshop Quark, and freehand, and I got good at that, and I became a art director and graphic designer for years and years and years, and did magazines, and Dan was writing magazines while I was doing the art, and it was great. But I was working with photographers, and I would say, hey, you know what I really want for this story? I really see the image in my head. I see what I want. And I would describe it to them, and then the image I would get back was not what I had asked for. And I started being like, well, am I asking for something that's impossible? Am I not describing it well? Why am I just not connecting? And what it turned, so I thought, you know what, I have some time. I'm going to pick up a camera now that there's digital and you don't have to. My problem with, I had picked up photography before, but my problem with photography was that you sort of had to know exactly what you needed a photography class, and I didn't take a photography class, but you needed to actually sort of know what you were doing, or else by the time you got your film back, which, like you developed film, it could be a long time after you shot it, and who knows what you did and why something worked and why it didn't work. So once digital cameras came out, it was great, like serious DLSRs. And I did a full frame one for my first one, and I loved it, and it was great, and I just fell in love with it. And that's really where it started. But fantasy I've always loved. So that is a really long answer to your question. But it definitely is coming from a artistic background, in like having my parents be artistic all the time and not having any bias. Again, so that's not the one I wanted. I wanted feather. In my household, there was no bias towards that's not a real career, because obviously it is, or else, because my parents supported us our entire life on that. Oh, I think I just did this the opposite of what I wanted. Yep. Okay. I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm just going to use the lasso and come around here. Select modify feather. I now know I can only do hello. Okay. That's so weird. All right, I'm just going to do it this way. I'm going to select inverse. I'm going to do curves. I'm going to bring, yeah, that's what I want. I just wanted to make it a little bit lighter in the center, not too terribly much. I usually darken things down much more. But then I'm going to take this, and I'm on that path, and I'm going to Gaussian blur, and I'm going to do a lot of Gaussian blur because I really don't want that to be very distinctive, but I wanted to do this, so I can just go, oh yeah, this is definitely the center here. So I need to paint some light onto her dress, because this is really dark here, and it shouldn't be. So level 6, layer 6 here is completely empty, and some people do this with dodging and burning. You can totally. I like to fake dodge and burn. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it a different way. I was going to do it that way, but I'm going to do it because you can just paint white and then play with that. But I am going to do curves, and I'm going to bring the light up on curves quite a bit. So right about there. That's really high, far too much. Don't leave that plain. So I'm now going to select everything, fill this box with black. It's like really, I'm going to fill it with black. All right, so now I'm going to take this. I'm on 16. I'm on a 0% brush. I always check it. And I'm just going to paint white onto this dress and onto the areas where I think should be lighter. So on her skin here, hit her cheek here. Like again, this is something that can be done with dodge and burn. But this is another way of doing it. don't know what's going on, but Dan's very serious in the hallway. Oh, Devin is throwing up again. Yay. So if I'm wondering how much a difference that's making, I can turn it off and turn it on again. And there's a little bit here. Back away. Turn it off and turn it on again. You know what? She should be casting a shadow. That's something she should be doing. So let's do that. I'm going to grab a green from here. That is black. I am going to grab a green from here. There we go. Lighter green. Right about there. Going to go here. New layer. And I am going to start just darkening down that, and this is going to change to a multiply. So it's important that it's a multiply, and I'm going to have to fix the stuff on the bottom of the dress, but I wanted to get the bottom of the, I want it to come right up to the bottom of the dress. So there we go. And the nice thing with the multiply effect is that it allows all those other colors to come through. And now I need to put a mask on this because I do almost everything with masks, if you haven't realized now. I'm going to make this thinner. And yes, I am painting white. Okay. Because I'm painting it such a small amount, it's coming off very slowly. This is the patience thing I was talking about before. You get a much better result. You do a little at a time in a patient white, because I'm painting white and I should be painting black. And I'm like, okay, there's patience and then there's ridiculousness, and I had entered ridiculousness. There we go. There we go. Just a little, and let the edge come through a little bit, but just a little bit more. There we go. Well, that helps make it more realistic because the light is obviously coming from this angle, so that helps sell it for me a little bit more. I like her. I think I'm ready for a texture for over the top. And I'm going to go to one of my favorites, which is not on the remote disc. In my texture folder, I think I want one called Golden Hour. And you would think I would just... There it is. Apparently I do know exactly where it is. I usually have to look for a little while. So, all right. So I am going to get rid of some of the stuff that I don't, ends up reading too harsh. And that's not that, I don't usually do that with that. I usually do it with my healing brush, which is not here because I'm in the wrong workspace. Photography. Interesting. I want, don't do that. I just need my tool.